Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with Wrestle Talk. I'm here with my good friend Brooks over here. He's joining me to go over the couple of matches that are going to be held later on today at 1 p.m. Eastern for the WWE Crown Jewel pay-per-view event in Saudi Arabia. I have the match card pulled up to our left on the screen right here, starting with WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Jade, Cargill, and Bianca Belair are the champions of that match. Kairi, Sane, and Io Sky are competitors. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson are NXT talent who are in this match. They've been making appearances on SmackDown the past couple of weeks. And then you have Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, ex-champions, also in this match. The following match is the United States Championship Triple Threat between LA Knight, who's the champion, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. Then you got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Then you got Seth Freakin Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. Then you got what I think is going to be the best match, Roman Reigns and the Usos versus the Bloodline in a six-man tag team match. And then finally, the two champion versus champion matches, Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. So I guess we could get started. What do you think is going to be the first match? I know I said the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match is going to be the first match. That's just because it's at the bottom of this list. I think it's going to go up, but I'm not sure if they put that card out just yet, the order.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet about the order either, but as for what should be the first match, I would say that you got to start with the United States Championship match with LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. I mean, you want to start with bang and a match with high pedigree, and putting a championship match first at the Night of Champions, I feel like only makes sense. I mean, looking back at previous pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell, if that's what it was. What was it?
Um, maybe Bad Blood, I think it
Yeah, yeah,
was,
it was Bad Blood, and it was Hell in a Cell with
between
Drew
CM
and
Punk and Drew
yes, the
McIntyre.
Punk and Drew. Yeah, starting pay-per-view off with a match like that, excellent. The night was excellent from start to finish. I feel like that's what they want to do again, and starting with the United States Championship would be a great way to go.
I agree. I think this match is going to be great. I think all three competitors in the match have the capability of making it a bang to start out the show. You want to set the tone early. You want it to be just as good as the main event of the whole pay per view, or PLE as they say. So I think that match is definitely has the capability of doing it. We'll get into who we think is going to win in a bit, but yeah, this is just a match card for now. So I guess we're going to start off with the Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match between the 8 women who are going to be shown right about now. All right. So currently our title holders are at the bottom, Jade and Bianca. The competitors, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend on the left, Io
I
Sky
don't
and
see them
Kairi
being
Sane.
shown.
Okay, one moment. I forgot the collab cam thing.
I just want to make
Um,
sure it's shown for everyone. If I don't need to see it if it's
yeah, it should be
not
shown for
critical.
everyone, but I will show you as well. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Quick kink in the armor in podcast episode 1. Gotta go through them, you know. So
Exactly.
on the
Only
left,
go up here.
I guess I'll just restart this segment and we'll go. Bianca and Jade are in the middle with the tag team titles. They are, I think, the probably the favorite to win this match and can retain. Then you got Lash Legend on the left and Jakara Jackson, the two NXT call ups over the past month, I would say. They've been holding it down. Then you got Io Sky and Kairi Sane at the top. They are part of Damage Control. They've been destroying everyone who's in their path, trying to become multiple time tag team champions. I think they already might be, but they're trying to just add to their resume once more. And then you have Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, who have always been in the mix. Chelsea is really great on the mic, and Piper's really her enforcer. And they're really a great duo. They're kind of a comedic duo at times. Chelsea's really great at selling and being on the mic and making other people look good. And Piper is just a hell of a talent. She just is able to beat everybody in the ring and compete with everybody in the ring, as well as Chelsea. But I do think Jade and Bianca are going to retain. We'll start off by having you give your thoughts on who's going to win, who you want to win, and kind of your opinions on what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, as for who I want to win, I mean, I'm Team Chelsea Green. I think she's a really undervalued talent on the roster. Her selling ability is second to none in the women's division, and I would absolutely love to see the comedic effects of having her and Piper have the titles again. I mean, I think it was great. I also think it could be real interesting to see Io have a championship again. I mean, I think she's really deserving of a singles run, so I don't know if it would be best to put the tag team titles on her again, but the best technical wrestler on the roster, men and women's, in my opinion. So she has the pedigree to win it. I don't know if that's what's best for her and the tag team championships as a whole. Going over to Lash Legend, um, and Jackson, NXT call-ups. Lash Legend, super athletic, former WNBA draft pick in the second round. Um, they have the ability, but I don't think their time is now. I mean, I don't think that this is their night. And Bianca and Jade, I do see them retaining, so I'm going to go with them. I do think that Bianca and Jade will retain their titles.
I agree with that. Jakara and Lash Legend have been good on the roster. I don't think their time is now yet because they're still so new, but they have proven themselves that they can hang with these other three teams, and I think they're a great addition to this Fatal 4-Way match. And they're putting up some work from NXT, putting them on the map a little bit, helping WWE fans realize that the developmental brand is, something to be talked about. I think Jade and Bianca should definitely win just by the caliber of superstars that they are. But I also could see that them losing and then potentially a heel turn out of one of them because I think they could both pursue singles careers just like you think Io can, sorry. And I also agree with that. But maybe Jade and Bianca lose the titles, join a singles division again. Maybe Io and Kairi take over. Any of the other three women, any tag teams rather, could win the titles realistically. That's why they're in the match. But I do think Jade and Bianca are going to retain. I would like to see Kairi and Io win it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what you said about the idea of splitting Bianca and Jade and potentially have them going on a feud. I think that would be a great direction to go in. I mean, you have one that has the look of a great wrestler and one that is a great wrestler, and she has been for the better part of 4 years now. I mean, Bianca has her WrestleMania streak like The Undertaker. I think she's won 4 WrestleManias in a row now.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure that she even lost yet. I don't know how
Yeah,
many she's
yeah, I'm
competed
pretty
in,
sure.
but I
I'm
think
pretty
at
sure
least
she's won at
four.
4 straight WrestleManias. So I don't know if you want to put Jade against her there and kind of lead up with going into WrestleMania with having what's the next War Games
Yep.
coming up, and then going into the road to WrestleMania, and then kind of having putting them two against each other, and having this be the night where they separate them, beginning
Yep.
to show that crack, and then getting to where we want to be in the future. I could see that playing out, but if they don't go in that direction, then I do not see them losing.
I agree. What I would also kind of like to see is Chelsea and Piper splitting up. They've been together for the greater portion of a year, and the way they decided to form their tag team was when Chelsea was a champion and her tag team partner, who I forget, got injured. Piper just stepped up and was like, "Give me that title," pretty much. And they were like, and she kind of feared her, so she became her tag team. But now they seem buddy buddy friends. They're good heels on the roster. They're somewhat comedic in times, and I think having Chelsea or Piper really just turn on one or the other there, that could open up a new feud between those two. But it'll be
Oh
interesting to
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
And we'll find out in a couple hours, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always here for more Chelsea on television. So
Yeah. I think I'd like to see her on a singles run. I think she's doing great as a tag team. I think she's great in the mic, obviously. She could sell like hell in the ring. I don't know that they would give her like such a push, but at Money in the Bank, when she did go through that table with Tiffany Stratton, or I believe that's who it was, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen at a Money in the Bank.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It was
they
a hell
trust
of
her
a
to take the big
sell.
spots.
It was perfect. She's really coming into her own. She was another person who got let go by WWE back in the day and then came back. And I think she's really stepped up under Triple H's. Um,
Regime.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned with the Money in the Bank spot with Chelsea Green. I think that that really shows the trust that they do have in her to take those big spots. And her being in a match like this would really be able to showcase her ability to do that again. I wouldn't doubt her being put in a similar situation. I doubt she's falling through a table on a ladder again, but
Yeah.
we get to something that pedigree. I mean, because that's what she does. That's what she does best. So I could definitely see something like that happening again.
Yeah, I think she'll definitely have a moment during the match where she'll like just look around and have all these other women looking at her, kind of circling her,
Hmm.
something like that, and then she'll crawl out of the way, and Piper will like come to her aid and protect her and knock everybody else out. But like
Yep.
on SmackDown, actually yesterday night, Piper and Lash Legend were having a kind of beef in the middle of the ring, two powerhouses, and they were kind of clearing out the ring, and that was interesting to see. They are two powerhouses, Bianca and Jade obviously as well. So those are like the big four that could really just be game changers in this match. But then you got girls like Chelsea, Kairi, and Jakara Jackson who are kind of like slippery and get out of situations
Hmm.
and can just really change the tide by, whatever other route they want to choose, whether it be just
Yeah.
getting involved with the ref or something like that, or just a sneaky pin or something like that. I don't know, but it will be
Yeah. I
interesting
mean,
to see.
speaking of the big four going into the metaphor with Noam Dar,
Hmm.
do you think that a win by Lash Legend, do you think that that would really progress that stable forwards? Do you think that they need to win this? Like looking at this match and these four teams here, who do you think needs to win the most?
Who do I think needs to win the most? I would probably say I don't. I honestly don't even think any of them need the belts. Personally, I think all of them as a tag team in itself are great. I think probably Chelsea and Piper should get the belts back. I think they could really elevate them still with their comedic effect and like just walking around like the it girls of SmackDown.
Mm.
But I do think since Metaphor and Noam Dar back in NXT, he was kind of injured and not on screen as much. Jakara
Hmm.
and Lash Legend have stepped up their game as a part of that team and have really, welcomed a challenge to Jade and Bianca. That's what got them involved in the first place. They were like, "Oh, come to NXT and fight us," because NXT is the best women's roster in all of wrestling. Most people are saying, and I'm most people. So,
Yes, you are.
all right. I think Jade and Bianca do win this match. It's gonna be interesting
I'm
to see.
going. I'm also going with Jade and Bianca.
All right. Next match, sorry, not women's, is going to be Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, and Andrade. That's just the way that the list is going. We both think that this match could easily start off the show. Um,
Hmm.
what do you think about this match?
I think that this is going to be a great match. I mean, looking back at the seven match banger that they went on, it really showcased the great technical wrestling of Carmelo Hayes and Andrade, and throwing LA Knight in there, one in a million personality on the mic,
Yep.
could only elevate this even further. I mean, seeing what he could do without a title to get to where he is today with the title, it's absolutely remarkable the growth that he's had and how over he's gotten naturally. So being able to push that into something with such great technical wrestlers with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade, I think it's going to be a contender for the match of the night, honestly.
I'm inclined to agree with that because Carmelo Hayes, another NXT guy who got called up during the draft, he's been killing it with the matchup with Andrade. That he and Andrade both have a crazy skill set and they're doing things we've never seen before on WWE TV at least. Like Andrade with his moonsault that is supposed to fail and then he does a backflip after he lands it and then does lands on the wrestler at the ground. That's a great move. Carmelo Hayes, his whole gimmick, his whole heel work, he's been great. He's really upped his game, and that's why they trust him in this spot with a title on the line. And LA Knight, like you said, he's the megastar. Everybody loves him. He gets a huge pop with or without a title. The crowd loves him. Everyone's always saying, yeah. He's been in the business for so long. He really earned it. He's had other gimmicks that have failed in the past. This one has seemed to work for him over the past 2 years. I think he's done a hell of a job. And I think throwing him in the mix with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes is just a great move by booking, because Carmelo and Andrade had a great 7-match series that was neck and neck the whole time, trading win and loss. So just having LA Knight have a title in that picture is just going to elevate all three of them, and Andrade has been a real superstar. I do want to say that Carmelo Hayes, I think, should win this title. I think it'll help him as a heel. I think it looks better on heels, just like Logan Paul. I think he had a good run with it, even though he did not have as many matches with it, or defenses. That's what people criticized him for. Similarly, I think LA Knight has not had too many defenses. He is a babyface. He's great on the mic, similar to how The Rock used to be, just like roasting people, all this other stuff. I think he's really good. So I'd like to see him retain. I think he probably will retain, but I do want Carmelo Hayes to win this match.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I mean, I would love to see Andrade win. I mean, I think that Carmelo being so young in his career, getting called up to SmackDown only this year, he doesn't need this as much as Andrade needs this. LA Knight, we all know how over he was before the title. He's still going to be just as popular, the megastar, after the title. So he doesn't necessarily need it right now at this point in his career. Andrade, him winning a title could solidify his role in the mid card and potentially launch catapult him to something further. But if we don't go in that direction and we keep it on LA Knight, I could also see that happening. I don't see a world where Carmelo wins this though, honestly.
I don't either, as much as I want it to happen. I think he's still too young, or like too
Hmm.
new. I think LA Knight, if LA Knight does lose it, he could be seen going towards the main card titles, like the one on Gunther or Cody. I guess on Cody in this scenario. Andrade definitely has the pedigree and talent to win this title. I think he's proved himself across that 7-match series against Carmelo, and I believe Triple H has a lot of trust in him. He's another guy who got let go by WWE or walked back in the day, went over to AEW, and then came back and has now really helped elevate his game, elevate Carmelo Hayes, because in that scenario, both of them were kind of new to Raw again, didn't know how they were going to be received, and they both had bangers of matches. They both trust each other to have 7-match series. I'm sure possibly the booking was going to be like a 3-match series. Oh, great. 2-1 to whoever's going to win. Blah, blah, blah. Because the matches were so good and incredible and the movesets were all great, I think they did end up pushing it 7 games, kind of like a sporting event series as well.
Hmm.
I think LA Knight does retain, though. I think it'll be a great match. It's going to be a lot of different cool moves, flips, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, excited to see it.
Yeah, who do you think takes the pin in that match?
Um, so in a couple scenarios, if LA Knight were to win, I think he could pin either of them. I'd say he probably pins Andrade, just because I think both of them might turn on Carmelo Hayes in the beginning of the match, like we've seen throughout the past of WWE, where they'll both turn and make it a one-on-one match and just eliminate one guy from a lot of the match. I think they could do that to Carmelo, or maybe he'll back out like the Miz used to do and just like kind of watch from the side and let them fight it out and then join in when he thinks it's time to strike. So I could see LA Knight beating Andrade and then Carmelo Hayes try to break up the pin and be too late. But let's say Andrade wins. I think he's got to pin LA Knight, and same goes for Carmelo Hayes. I think he's got to pin LA Knight because he is the title holder, and it wouldn't make much sense if they pinned one another, being Carmelo or Andrade pinning each other. I just think LA Knight's got to be a part of that pin scenario, win or lose.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have one of Carmelo or Andrade winning, why insert LA Knight into the feud anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I also feel that if my feelings are correct and Andrade does win, LA Knight will be the one taking the pin there. And that's also for the fan as well. I mean, being a big fan of the megastar myself, I would feel cheated if I saw him lose in a way that didn't result in him getting pinned. Like I feel like that's just not what you want to showcase for your faces within the company. So if he's going to lose, have him lose, not have him feel cheated out of it.
I will say though, down in NXT, Trick Williams had a match with Ethan Page, Javon Evans, and Sean Spears, I believe. Those were the four in this match. This was a pay-per-view maybe a month or two back. And Ethan Page happened to stumble on a victory after Trick Williams, who was the title holder, hit him with a finisher. Sean Spears pulled him out of the match so he couldn't interfere with the pin. And then Ethan Page landed on Javon Evans and won that via pinfall by being knocked out. So something like that could happen.
Yep.
So
yeah,
LA Knight could get knocked
a crazy
out.
Ending.
Yeah, LA Knight could get knocked out of the match. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes showcased their Game 8 maybe, I guess. I don't know. And then, they really just show their talent. But because they've added LA Knight into the mix, I think he's got to be involved in a major part of this match. It's not just going to be Carmelo versus Andrade for most of it with LA Knight on the side. It's going to be all three of them. I think all three of them deserve this title. And I think, I like what you said, Andrade should win it. Carmelo Hayes should win it. Probably won't. He's a bit too new, but it's good that he's holding his own in the mid-card picture. And LA Knight could hold it, but without it or with it, he has a great pop, and he's still one of the top baby faces on SmackDown. So that'll be interesting to see as well. On to the next match. We have Randy versus Kevin Owens. What do you think is going to happen in this? They were a former tag team, both baby faces on Cody Rhodes' side, before Kevin Owens eventually turned on Cody, causing Randy to step in and start this feud. We seem to have lost audio from you. So what I think is Randy is going to win this match because I think he's got to beat Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens beat up his friend Cody Rhodes after one of the SmackDowns aired. So it was off air. Kevin Owens decided to hit him with a car, I believe is what it actually was, and beat up Cody. And when Randy got wind of this, he decided, like, hey, that's my friend. That was your former friend. What are you doing? So then they started this feud. And Kevin Owens, we know, historically has been a great heel. I think he's really, he's kind of got like a vlogger-esque, like, foreshadowing character now. Like we saw on SmackDown last night, he was in a car saying, I can't believe you've done this to you and me. You're making me do what I'm about to do to you tomorrow. It's all your fault pretty much. I think, so I think Randy is probably going to win just for the later stipulation that Cody has with Gunther. I think if Randy wins, he's going to go help Gunther. Cody. So that's for a little later talk. I think Randy does beat KO. I think Randy needs it more than KO. KO's kind of a heel already, but Randy is established as a veteran. Everyone loves him already, so I could see it going either way. I'm going to have to go with Randy for this match, though.
Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties there. Happy you hear me again?
Yes,
Great.
I do.
All right, awesome. I think that what I was saying is I think this is the true coin flip of the night. It could really go either way depending on which way they want to take the story. And like you mentioned with the dynamics of Cody there, we can be here for hours talking about what direction they can go and what direction they were not going to go in, and what the fallout of this match has for the road to WrestleMania and leading up to WrestleMania. So we could be here all day doing that. But as for this match, I think that they're going to have Kevin Owens win this match. I changed my mind from previous thinking, but I think that having a Kevin Owens win will solidify him as a heel going forwards and can provide Cody with some protection going into tonight with his match with Gunther. Because one thing that we need to consider, actually I'm not even going to talk about that yet because that's not where we're at right now. But I think that we could see a KO win.
I definitely think it's split down the middle. This is probably the most even match of the night, I would say. Kevin Owens getting the win over a decorated veteran like Randy Orton will really elevate his heel work. I think if he were to win, it would be through like a dirty way, like brass knuckles or like something like that when the ref's not looking. I think that would just help him become more of a heel, doing that to someone like Randy Orton. And I think Randy Orton probably has the upper hand. He's got more motivation to beat up Kevin Owens after Kevin Owens beat up Cody Rhodes. I think, the Viper in him, he's going to hear the voices in his head, and he's going to try to beat Kevin Owens. Maybe he'll bring back the punt. Who knows?
The punt.
But yeah,
Over
now that
under
you
the
said...
amount of...
Oh, go ahead.
What was that?
I was going to say
I was going to say
now...
over...
Okay. I was going to say now that you bring up Kevin Owens should be winning, I also kind of agree with that. I think since Randy's been so decorated and everybody already loves him taking a loss to Kevin Owens, fans aren't going to turn on Randy and be like, oh my god, he's too old. He's not very good at wrestling anymore. That's obviously not the case. He's in the best shape of his life. But Kevin Owens beating a fan favorite in Randy Orton, that might make fans be like, boo, and all this stuff, giving him all the heel reactions he's looking for. I think it'll make him more hateable as a heel, and Randy could really be, kind of a pity baby face if he loses. If he were to lose, not after. I do not know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that... Well, first I was going to say over under how many RKOs in this match.
That is a good question. I think it's definitely going to be one. I think there's definitely going to be two. I do not think there's going to be over three. I think over 1.5 RKOs would be the line.
That's the line. That's the line.
I think there's only so many times Kevin Owens is not going to see it. It's going to be from out of nowhere and all that whole spiel about the move and the degree that move holds.
Yeah, I mean, I see it now. Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb into an RKO. Randy isn't nearly as spry as he was in his young career when he did the good old stomp by Seth Rollins into the RKO.
Yep.
So I don't think we're going to see something to that degree, but I could definitely see Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb into the RKO. I mean, I could definitely see that being a spot that they go for in this match.
Yeah, I think Randy definitely has some incredible RKO reversals. I think it really does come out of nowhere, even though, obviously, people expect it to happen in the crowd when he's warming it up, hitting the mat or whatnot. I think anything could happen in this match. I think Kevin Owens really is probably going to win, even though I already opened up saying Randy's going to win. I think Randy losing doesn't have as much effect as Kevin Owens winning. I think Randy's not obviously going to fall down the card. People are still going to love him. And they're going to hate Kevin Owens even more for beating their childhood hero or the veteran in the locker room.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that Kevin Owens does it in like a dirty way, kind of when the ref's not looking or whatever. I think it'll really, like, maybe a steel chair again, since we saw him hit Randy with one yesterday on SmackDown. But it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that keeping in mind that the next pay-per-view is War Games, and we're probably going to see a Cody faction in some capacity at War Games, you're going to want to see Randy align with Cody still at that point, and having Randy lose could potentially lead to that feud of Cody, which I feel like that's something that they could hold off on at this moment in time. So,
I think
with that in mind, yeah.
I think they could hold off on that feud as well, but we did also see before the match tagging with Cody last night, Randy looked over at the championship belt and the cameras caught it. It was obviously on purpose. He's definitely hunting for another title. So I think him losing to Kevin Owens doesn't have any effect on that at all, really. But let's say he teams up with Cody again and they lose. They happen to end up beating Gunther and ludvigkaiser and Imperium last night. So that, put a good spark in their relationship. They're still friends, but let's say they lose in future tag matches, like at a War Games, and if they're on the same team, Randy's going to think like, oh, maybe you're not as good as you once were thought out to be, or whatnot, since Randy's known him for a long time and helped pretty much shape his early career with legacy. So yeah. I think Randy is a great heel. Everybody knows that. He's one of the best heels the company's ever seen, but he's just too lovable right now. And I think when he does have a heel turn eventually, it's going to be great. The crowd is going to, I think, love it personally. It's going to be hard for him to turn heel, but
we're going to love to hate it.
We're going to love to hate it. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you summarized it perfectly. I mean, keeping in mind with War Games around the corner at the end of November, it's going to be interesting to see who's aligned with Cody at that point, because if you have Randy lose today, do you eventually have that turn on happen at War Games? Because I seriously doubt it happens today at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that you have KO win today, lose at War Games. Like that would be my direction I'd take this.
I agree. I have switched over to your point of view. I think Kevin Owens is going to win this match. I do not think Randy will win, and I do not think Randy will turn today. I think if they do end up being a tag team at War Games, something crazy could happen there. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on to the next match, we have Seth versus Bronson Reed. Now this feud has been a lot better than I expected personally. Bronson Reed was kind of a mid-carder and didn't really get much TV time. He was another guy that was let go by the company and Triple H brought back and has really elevated his game since being back. Definitely taken full opportunity and full advantage of the opportunity, rather. So when Seth Rollins was coming off WrestleMania and all these other pay-per-views where he dropped the belt to Damian Priest, I believe, he was wrestling injured with a bad knee. He needed some time off, so they were going to write him off television. They were like, oh, who can we elevate off this, inconvenience, I guess. So Bronson Reed really stepped up behind the scenes, talked to Adam Pearce, and was like, if you're not going to give me a shot, I'm going to go make a shot for myself. And sure enough, he did. And as it turns out, Bronson Reed went out to the ring, hit Seth freaking Rollins with 6 tsunamis, causing Seth to bleed from his mouth, possibly injuring ribs, maybe a punctured lung. Nobody really knows what happened. As far as I don't know personally, but I'm sure there's some hospital records. But then Bronson Reed also decided to do the same fate to R-Truth, and I'm forgetting Bronson Reed. He also had Braun Strowman. He had a feud with as well. He put Braun Strowman through a car, for Christ's sake, and through a piece of sheet wood. I forget what it's called.
Rock.
Yeah, sheetrock. He also threw a security guard or a fan at Braun Strowman, which was incredible. That went viral on Twitter. So he's really upped his game. He's really become a great heel on the roster, and he's a guy they could trust moving forward. Seth obviously is decorated. He's been doing this for a long time now. He's won as many championships as anybody else on the roster. And they definitely have trusted him. So I think Seth wanting to feud with Bronson Reed is great. I think that how their feud started is great. And I think over the past couple months, Seth has really shown like, oh, you'd have to kill me to keep me down pretty much. Because Seth has hit him with a couple stomps, which has ruined Bronson winning some matches over the past couple months as well. So this feud is really going to be the breaking point for both of them. I kind of hope Bronson Reed wins this match. I think it would do better for his career than Seth, similar to how KO and Randy. Seth is almost as similar as Randy, babyface-wise. Maybe not as grizzled as veteran just yet, but he's getting there. And I think as a babyface, the crowd really loves him. They love to chant his song. They love his outfits that he's always wearing. And Bronson Reed is kind of like a dark cloud that's glooming over him. And he's like, I'm going to hurt your heroes pretty much to the fans. So I think he's really elevated his game in that way. What do you think about this match?
I agree with your take that Bronson Reed should and will win, but I feel that this is going to be a squash match for Bronson Reed. I feel like you really want to put your monster on a pedestal, and WWE hasn't had a true monster. You think of Andre the Giant in the 80s, the Big Show in the 2000s, you got Kane in there. It's something that is really useful if you could have a character that is that physically imposing. And they're building him up that way. So I feel like if you squash somebody with the pedigree of Seth freaking Rollins, then it really solidifies that character. And looking forwards, if we're gonna be teasing a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins feud, we have to get there at some point. So I feel like this could be a squash, end this feud up tightly, have Bronson Reed continue his reign of havoc, and begin to build CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I can see that being a direction that they want to go in.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an option. Seth and CM Punk have some history. Seth doesn't love CM Punk. Doesn't even like the guy either. They're definitely going to have a feud. Maybe CM Punk will come out and, play his music or something to throw Seth off his game. But I think Bronson, as you said, I don't know if it's going to be a squash match as much as, but Bronson will be controlling the match for sure, I would say. I think he's going to be more dominant in this match, and he's going to give Seth a hard competition and a hard fight, and I think he should win. And like you said, Kane, Big Show, Andre the Giant, these guys were around for, many years, at least 10, 20 maybe, doing the same gimmick, same type of heel work, and it was just a useful piece that WWE could pull out and just be confident in and have some faith in. So like Bronson Reed, if he's going to be this heel and this big monster guy, everyone's going to fear him in the locker room, and people are going to want to take him down, starting with Seth Rollins, of course. So I think this is just a beginning for him, and this is the first opponent with credibility at least, but Bronson Reed has done many squash matches leading up to this moment as well. So I think they are solidifying him as a monster, and he's going to have many more high-quality opponents and matches moving forward as well.
Yeah, spot on. 100% agree.
All right. Now we're going to be moving on to the Bloodline match. Now this match has been in the making for a long time. Roman Reigns, for those who haven't been watching over the past couple of years, was the title holder for 4 years with Solo Sikoa at his side, Jey and Jimmy Uso at his side, and Paul Heyman at his side as the wise man. Now, as you can see by the picture, Solo Sikoa has an ulafala around his neck, and so does Roman Reigns. They both are believed to be tribal chiefs, and since Roman lost the title to Cody, Solo stepped up and believed, oh, you lost, you're human, you can't be the tribal chief if you're going to lose, pretty much. So Solo found his own band of family members, as it were, in Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa, and he started his own bloodline to try to succeed Roman and Jimmy and Jey. So Jimmy and Jey went off on their own. Jimmy was written off TV, Roman was off TV, and Jey was doing his own thing in singles competition, winning the Intercontinental Championship as well. This will be definitely a sick match, I think, because Roman is one of the best wrestlers of the past 20 years. Jimmy is on another level with the crowd. He's on a similar level to LA Knight with the crowd pops, at least. And Jimmy is he's kind of in the middle. The crowd kind of likes him now that he's with Roman and Jey again. But then Solo, on the other hand, the crowd hates him. He's a younger talent. He moved up maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it may be. He's really elevated his mic skills, and I think it's allowed him to take over as being like this dominant guy who holds the ulafala. Maybe he is the tribal chief now, put some respect on his name type deal. And then with the addition of Jacob Fatu, most recently to his bloodline, he's just been an animal. He's the Samoan werewolf for a reason. He does all these crazy moves, and, whenever someone tries to do a move back to him, he doesn't really get affected by it. He's kind of like a one-of-one being, and he's pretty indestructible in the ring, at least. So this match is going to be a war, pretty much, which does set up for War Games coming down the line. But I'm curious to see, who do you think is going to win this match, and who do you think is going to take the pin?
Well, as for who I think is going to win the match, I think that you're going to have Solo win this match. You're really going to want to build up the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. And as much as you want to see, and the fans want to see, the OTC Roman Reigns come out and take back his ulafala rightfully and win, I feel like if you want to build up adequately to War Games and the road to WrestleMania, you have Solo win and have Roman have his day later on. As for who's going to take the pin, if Solo's side is winning, I would say you'd have to put the pin on Jimmy. You're not going to pin Jey, one of the hottest guys in the company right now.
Yeah.
Incredibly over. And Roman just coming back, basically. You're not going to take a pin after losing to Cody at WrestleMania.
I agree. Now, on the other hand, if Solo does manage to pin Roman, that would really solidify Solo as like, oh my god, I've been better than this guy for the longest time, and
Yes.
nobody knew it except me deep down, pretty much. So that could really be kind of game changing towards War Games if Solo were to pin Roman, a wrestler of that caliber. Um, Solo would really take over as the tribal chief. Roman would kind of be the fallen king, like he was when he lost the title. And Roman is still trying to get back with the fans. Jey just recently decided to align with Jimmy and Roman, even after Roman was treating him poorly over the past couple of years. But now they're coming in with a more equal mindset. Roman was once the leader of the bloodline, like the tribal chief, as he says. But now Jey, last night on SmackDown, was like, oh, we're all equals now, and if we're not, I'm leaving you. So maybe Roman might have a lust for power again, and Jey's going to turn on him. Who knows? That's a little outlandish of a take,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely is a possibility because, Roman's kind of a snake in the grass, and he has been, and he was a ruler who wanted power of his bloodline, and now Solo's in that same scenario where he wants power. He's not as acclaimed as Roman is, but if he were to pin anybody, I'd say Jimmy as well, just because it has the least effect on that side with Roman, Jey, and Jimmy. I think Jimmy is unfortunately the least. How could I put this? He would have the least effect if he were to lose. I think if Roman and Jey lose, then you're like, oh wow, like what are they doing with these two? They're top stars. Jimmy's been out of action for a long time. If he loses, fans won't really bat an eye, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But let's say Roman's team does win. I think Jey's going to get a pin on Solo because Jey is hot and everybody knows it in the crowd. The fans love him. They were chanting his song, singing his song last night. Everyone loves doing the yeet. And I think Jey is kind of superseded Roman as of now simply because Roman, he's kind of trying to bring back ties with his family members. Maybe the wise man makes an appearance. I don't know. But I think Jey is kind of proven that he is the prince who was promised, I guess, when Roman was the king of the bloodline. So it's all going to be interesting. I do think Solo wins simply because of this picture. There are 4 members of Solo's bloodline: Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, versus 3, Jimmy, Jey, and Roman. So I think they are going to have a numbers game in this match. And I think whoever the odd man out on Solo's team is definitely going to interfere with the ref. Something's going to happen. Maybe The Rock comes back. Maybe another member like Zilla Fatu from another company, promotion comes in. There's a lot of possibilities with this match. Probably the most possibilities that could happen in this match. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that was spot on with potential comebacks of the wise man Paul Heyman. You have the final boss potentially coming back here in this spot. You got Zilla Fatu potentially making a debut
Mm-hmm.
after being on the Indies for a while. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a great match because there's so many different directions that they can go in that it's going to leave the fan guessing what's going to happen next. Um, as for the whole dynamics of this match as a whole, I do think it's going to be really interesting to see who controls the match because that's really going to showcase who's not the true tribal chief, but whose bloodline side is the more dominant at this moment in time. I mean, a year ago, we all knew it was Roman's side with Jimmy
Right.
and Jey, with how well their chemistry was aligned. They're only coming back together after Jey officially joining Roman last night.
Right.
So is chemistry going to be their downfall right now? Like I could see that coming into play
Mm-hmm.
and really building up the new bloodline strength, I think is really, really critical.
Yep.
And we're going to see the faults of the old bloodline come through, and they're going to lose that match because of it.
I agree. I think Solo should definitely win this match just because of the implication it'll have on War Games. Maybe they'll get a Bloodline Rules type. Um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Stipulation.
Stipulation on the match. Yeah, something like that. Maybe they'll control the stipulation to really show the weakness in Roman's bloodline. Even though they are coming back, I don't think the bond is fully there, like you said. Jey, as he said on SmackDown, He thinks they're all equals. Nobody's really a tribal chief. They're all going into this differently this time. And anything Roman does differently to like throw him off, Jay's just gonna leave. Same thing with Roman. So like there's no love lost there, even though they are part of their own same family with the bloodline. I think, because of their past and because of how long Roman's been off TV, then he comes back 2 months ago or whatnot, and Jay's been just on the rise, winning the IC title, then losing it to Braun Breaker. Jimmy's just had a good, successful singles career so far over the past year. So I think Jay could just say, like, to hell with this. I don't need this. Like, I'm doing good on my own pretty much. But because, his brother Jimmy's there and Jimmy wants to reconcile and bring everyone back and he sees the good in Roman, Jimmy is kind of the glue that holds this team together, believe it or not. But this is definitely going to be one of my favorite matches of the card. Anything could possibly happen, truly. We've seen it over the past 4 years. Many interferences, just like at WrestleMania. The Rock came out, then The Undertaker was there, then John Cena was there, and all these other guys were coming out. So maybe The Rock makes an appearance. Maybe John Cena comes back. He's going to be wrestling in 2025. I doubt he comes back in November 2024. But, you never know. He came back at WrestleMania to help feud with The Rock. The Rock rock-bottomed him. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a great match, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is going to be a great match for the future of the Bloodline story.
Yeah. I also wonder, when is this going to end? You got 2 different bloodlines, like, version 1 then version 2 solos. And is Jacob Fatu going to get sick of Solo if they lose? And is he going to bring Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa with him? Or is Jacob Fatu potentially going to join Roman? There's also possibilities of, double siding. Like, is Jimmy or Jay truly with Roman when they could side with Solo?
Yeah, no, I think that
like
these
that
are all
as
really
well.
good points. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love to see Jacob Fatu
Yeah.
going like this all day, I could begin if Solo does take a loss here, I could see his loyalty towards him beginning to waver, and that could lead to the destruction of Solo's bloodline.
Yeah.
But I think that the questions you posed were really good in the sense that where's it gonna go? I'm really curious about where exactly that's gonna happen. Like, do they see this being a WrestleMania level feud, or are we gonna have Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania? Are we gonna try to end the bloodline thing that's going on right now prior to WrestleMania? Is it gonna go through WrestleMania into the next year? Like what's their angle on this?
Yeah, I mean, the ball is in WWE's court. Their writers have been incredible for the past 4 years or whatever it may be with this entire Bloodline story. They carried them throughout the COVID years, the end of the COVID years. They really kept this company afloat and have raised the stock, actually, of the company. And everyone knows Roman Reigns. And anytime Roman Reigns' name is brought up on something like Twitter or something like that, fans are really drawn to that to see what he's involved with. So it's definitely going to be a great match, and I'm looking forward to it.
Wes.
The next match is now Liv versus Nia. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday after SmackDown when Nia came out with Tiffany Stratton. Liv was there with Raquel and Dom. And obviously Tiffany Stratton has the briefcase aligned with Nia currently, but always that opportunity to strike and take Nia's title from her at a moment of vulnerability. I'm not so sure that this match has been kind of feuded together correctly over the past month. It was truly set up. Same thing with our following match, Cody and Gunther. We'll get into that after. I think Liv and Nia haven't really crossed paths as much as maybe they should have preparing for this match. So, over the past month, they've appeared on the opposite brand, to raise awareness for the match, I guess, and somewhat start a feud. But again, both of them are heels at the same time. So Liv is with Daddy Dom, Dirty Dom, whatever you want to call them. So they're heels, and they're aligned as heels, and they've been fighting Rhea Ripley. Now Raquel Rodriguez joins the mix after Bad Blood. So now they have kind of a trio, as well as the rest of the Judgment Day on Liv's side. And Nia is going in as the Queen of the Ring and the champion with Tiffany Stratton, who she can't even prove is on her side. Because yesterday, Tiffany Stratton came out with the briefcase and was, promoting towards Liv, saying, if I win your title, do I get Dom as well? That got a lot of laughter and, praise from the crowd, because Dom's being passed around like a piece of meat with the title, which is great. I think his character is fantastic. And I think him going from Rhea to Liv, now to Tiffany Stratton possibly, I think he really is helping all of them with their storylines. But Tiffany Stratton also mentioned, to Nia, when Nia was like, yeah, she might take your title to Liv, she also said, I wouldn't be so sure I'm not taking yours, or something like that. Kind of snapped at Nia, giving her a realization, oh, I might be in this alone, pretty much. So do you think that Tiffany Stratton is going to cash in, or at least be out there? And who do you think she's going to cash in on if it does happen?
So I do think that Tiff is going to cash in. I think that the girlfriend of Braun Strowman is going to be there, Raquel Rodriguez, to stop a cash in on the Liv and potentially force Tiffy to pivot and alter her plans and then cash in on Nia, because Nia is the only available person if Raquel is protecting Liv. So I do see this being the night where she does cash in. But I do have questions who it's going to be on, because you're going to have two sides playing on. It's basically a 2v2 with Raquel and Tiffy, both kind of loosey-goosey alliances, not really too thorough or built up yet, with Raquel just aligning with Liv to beat up Rhea and her returning at the previous pay-per-view. It's relatively new thing, and we're already seeing the cracks between Nia and Tiff, that there's reason to believe that any one of them can go in a different direction in this match, which I think that is an awesome thing, because I feel like so much in wrestling you get your classic heel versus face, and you can generally expect it's going to happen. But when you have two heels that kind of have not an underdeveloped, but a not fleshed out story. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that kind of opens up the door to speculation, which is always fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think Raquel's probably going to go out there with Liv just to be in her corner. If she doesn't, I think she'll definitely make an appearance. Maybe Dom doesn't go out there originally with Liv, even though he also could be in her corner. But I do think it's going to happen during the match. Tiffany's music is going to hit when Nia and Liv are both on the ground or whatever. Everyone's going to be cheering, and she's going to run out. Nia and Liv, neither of them know who she's going to try to cash in on. So she'll be running down the ramp to go in. Then Dom's going to run out. His music's not going to hit. He's just going to try to stop Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton might pull a move like Liv did, jumping on Dom and kind of being all up on him when Rhea was, feuding with Liv, and Liv took Dom for the first time. Tiffany could do that to Liv to help Nia win, maybe. Or Dom could successfully get Tiffany out of the way, and then Nia would be like, what are you doing to Dom? Pretty much yelling at him, opening up Liv for the possible pin. But, it's already be very interesting to see, and I think Nia is actually going to end up pinning Liv and winning this match. And I think Liv's interference or potential interference is going to help Nia get the edge over Liv. And I think I think Tiffany's going to throw the briefcase in there for Nia to hit Liv with or whatnot. And she's going to have a failed attempt, even though she's not going to give it to a ref saying, I want to cash in, blah, blah, blah. I think she's just going to have the briefcase in there to help Nia win. So when she goes to pick it back up, Nia's going to say something like, oh, raise my hand, what do you, I'm your queen, all that stuff. So then Tiffany's going to look at her with briefcase in one hand, holding her hand up in the other hand, and then she's going to turn around and she's going to let go of Nia and hit her in the back with a briefcase. Boom, she's going to cash in and take Nia's title. That's what I think.
Yeah, I could definitely see. I think that'd be a great way to go, honestly. I think that splitting them up could be a great thing, but I feel like if you want to keep them together, you could have Nia, the more physically and dominant opponent to beat Liv clean.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tiffy just strolls down, walks down nice and slowly, and then just pins the already down Liv for the title as well. If you really want to solidify them as a heel team
Yep.
and have them be a team of the two women's champions, I feel like that could be a direction they want to go in as well.
I think that because Liv is so over on Raw with Dom and Raquel now, and Raquel and Liv are both former tag champs, so that is why Raquel is aligned with Liv. So it's not fully random that she's aligned with them, but it is kind of, just, oh, now Raquel's with Liv, great, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see your point where, can we trust Raquel to be a part of Liv's team, I guess, or New Judgment Day, whatever. And Tiffany Stratton, if she were to, we've already seen cracks in her relationship with Nia Jax. Most noticeably, yesterday, she's like, oh, don't be so sure, I'm not going to cash in on you. And Nia's been treating her poorly, kind of like Roman treated the Usos in the Bloodline. So Tiffany's kind of getting sick of it, and the fans love Tiffany. So even as a heel, she might be turning babyface and turn on Nia Jax and win that belt, which would start a feud between them two. And they're both powerhouses. They both can handle themselves in the ring. Nia, another person who got let go by WWE and has come back and really elevated her game, winning the title in short time, beating Bayley as well, who's a pretty high caliber opponent to take the title from. I think Nia's done a great job. I think she definitely deserves it. I think she should continue to have a title. But I do think that Tiffany Stratton is definitely heading in the babyface direction, similar to how Rhea was a heel, and then the fans started to love her and all her antics and tactics with Dom and the Judgment Day and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So fans turned her babyface for the most part. Whether she wanted it or not, as a character, it happened, and fans love her for it. Same thing I could see happening with Tiffany Stratton in the briefcase. She's a Barbie, she's like, oh, an it girl, all this other stuff. She's got a cool Money in the Bank briefcase. But imagine her with a title belt with Nia Jax, I would say the top women's heel in the company, on her tail now. If she were to take Nia's title, Nia's going to do everything in her power to get it back from Tiffany, and that's to set up a great feud for the next coming months as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great take there. I do have one question regarding this match, though. What is, being that we have so little to go off of here and we're kind of speculation's running wild, what do you think is your, I don't care how crazy it is, ideal way this match plays out?
Ideal way this match plays out. Let me paint you a picture.
As crazy as you want on me.
I do think Raquel will walk down with Liv with the ramp. I do not think Dom's going to be there with them. I don't think he needs to be there for this feud particularly. If it was Rhea, maybe he's there, but it's Nia. We haven't seen enough of this feud. It's only been a month. They kind of just threw this match together to win a prestigious championship that they just introduced called the Crown Jewel Championship. So I think Raquel's going to be in Liv's corner, and Nia is not going to have Tiffany in her corner, just for the implication that Tiffany could cash in at any moment, turning on Nia or helping her out. Nia might be a little flustered after the comments last night, and she might feel like it's just her and nobody else on her side. So I do think Tiffany Stratton does come out eventually, while Liv and Nia are both on the ground after a big move or whatever. They're both trying to get to their feet to take advantage of the other and go for a pin maybe. Tiffany's music hits, she runs down. Both of them are shocked because nobody knows, we don't know who she's going to cash in on. The obvious answer might be Liv because she's aligned with Nia. But, what about a crazy babyface turn, which is rare these days? It's more of a heel turn. If she hits Nia with a briefcase and takes down the queen and the princess becomes the new queen, I think that's something that could happen. I think Dom is going to probably come out and try to stop Tiffany from cashing in. And he's going to pull her back, causing Tiffany to throw the briefcase in the ring on accident when she's trying to dive under the bottom rope. And I think the ref's going to be looking at Dom and Tiffany arguing on the side. And Nia's going to hit Liv with the briefcase possibly. Or Raquel might get involved, whatever. Raquel might take a shot for the briefcase from Nia. But I do think Nia is going to pin Liv. She ended up pinning Liv yesterday after some segment, I believe the opening segment, when they were just talking, giving promos. She did the Annihilator on her. I think it's that she's going to be dominant in a win, Nia, personally. I just think she has the better skill set. She's more powerful. And then as soon as Tiffany and Dom's going to go get Liv, pull her out of the ring on the other side with Raquel. And then Tiffany's going to go in to retrieve her briefcase. And then when she goes to pick it up, Nia's going to like lift her hand and say, raise my hand, or something like that. Or like bow down to your queen. And then when Nia turns her back on Tiffy, she's going to hit her with the briefcase in the back, kind of like Sami did with Roman. And Seth all those years ago did to Roman as well. For a heel turn, I think it's going to be a babyface turn in that way. And I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to love every minute of it. And I'm going to be tweeting about it at Raw Wrestle Talk during the entire show.
Talk.
Show starts at 1 p.m. in about an hour. So
get your information for the show at rawwrestletalkx.com.
Exactly. What do you have to say about this match? What do you think about that take in particular? And what do you think happens? Do you think any other interference comes out from someone's past or something like Bayley maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's awesome about this match. We just don't know. We can sit here and talk about it all day about what could happen. I personally would love to see Damian Priest come out.
Really?
I want him because I feel like him and Dom have some unfinished business.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dom's going to come out to try to help Liv. Damian's going to come out and stop him. And that's how Nia's going to get the win there. And I don't see any further Judgment Day members coming out, but I definitely do see Damian making an appearance.
Do you think, if Nia wins this title, what do you think happens after that? Do you think Tiffy cashes in? Do you think the babyface turn and build-up is still going to remain? And maybe for War Games they'll have a match or something?
I think that you do have a Tiffy cash-in, and I do think it's going to be on Nia, because I think the combo of you got Dom protecting Liv, you have Raquel protecting Liv. I feel like Liv's going to have too much help from other places that Tiffy's going to want to cash in, and even if Nia does pick up the win, I think that she's going to cash in on Nia. And like to a way that you've spoken about, where raise my hand, nope, briefcase back to the head, snaps on her finally, and the princess becomes the queen.
All right, yeah, I think we just wrote the exact script of what's exactly going to happen.
I think so as well.
Something to that caliber happens, but we're just going to have to wait and see in a couple hours.
Yep.
Moving on to the final match. This is Cody versus Gunther. Now, this match, again, kind of random. Not too random, but I don't think they've crossed paths in the past. And I think Gunther and Cody have done hell of a jobs, each, retaining their title, fighting for their title, and all this other stuff. I do think Gunther's more of a dominant champion, and Cody's more of a fighting champion, and like more of a Sami Zayn type of character, where Cody, has to earn his wins a little harder than Gunther does.
Mm-hmm.
I also think this feud was a little better done than the Nia Liv on like each Raw and SmackDown. Once again, they only had like a month for 4 shows each, maybe. Gunther always pities his opponents, like we saw with Sami. He's telling him, no, you can't have this match, blah, blah, blah. So Gunther's definitely going in, taking Cody lightly, and thinking, oh, there's no way you beat me. I'm kind of like the top guy. And Cody's like, well, I already beat Roman for his title after 4 years. I've beaten top talent for titles. As we know, Gunther has held the IC title for the longest reigning time as well. So Cody could add that to his resume again, pinning another long-term title holder. What do you think is going to happen in this match? There could be some crazy people that come out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is also going to be a great match. I mean, you got you have the face of the company, Cody, the new John Cena 2.0. And then you got Gunther, who is the most physically dominant champion that this company has had in a very long time, in terms of just a almost 4-year run going back from his transition from Walter to Gunther.
Yep.
It's just been absolute dominance from the longest reigning intercontinental champion ever to now this championship reign, taking it off of Damian. It's been complete domination out of him. I do not see a world where Gunther does lose his title here. or lose this match.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like if you're going to introduce a crown jewel tournament and championship, new title and all that, where that title will then be put on the line for future crown jewels, like they're planning to do, you're going to want to put that on somebody like Gunther.
I agree. I think he definitely. I think they're both obviously deserving of this title. I think they're both in the right spot for this title. I don't think there's anyone else on the roster who, like, let's say, I don't know, another wrestler had one of these titles to be in this match. I think these are the perfect two for this match. You got one of the top baby faces in Cody on SmackDown, and the top heel, one of the top heels on Raw in Gunther, and um, both of them are championship caliber. They've held the title for a good amount of time now. They've both had hell of a reigns, and I think every opponent that they've each fought, they've won in different ways. Gunther obviously is more of a submitting kind of guy now. Like last night, after SmackDown ended, he submitted Cody with a sleeper hold and put him to sleep. And Cody's more of like, I have to do 3 crossroads to beat my opponent kind of deal, because he's versing Solo, Roman, all these kind of guys, The Rock. So it's definitely going to be interesting, like a David and Goliath type of match. I do think Gunther is going to win. I don't see a world where Gunther loses. I think Gunther's probably going to submit him by sleeper hold again, and I think he's going to make Cody pass out. Cody's not the kind of guy who's going to tap out. He's going to give it everything he's got until he can't anymore. So I don't think he's going to be the one to tap out and submit or get the pin. I think he's going to be passed out in the ring after Gunther wins the new championship. Do you think there's going to be any people coming out like Randy or Kevin Owens, depending on who wins that match, to throw Cody off his game? Do you think Sheamus is going to come out and say, like, or Drew even for Gunther, 2 of his opponents from past? Anything like that to throw them off their game.
So Ludwig's got to be there.
He's got to be. Mm-hmm.
Ludwig's got to be there. I wouldn't hesitate saying that Giovanni Vinci could potentially return.
Yep.
He hasn't been on TV in 8 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
He could potentially make a comeback. I doubt it's going to be aligned with them, or maybe he tries to work his way back into Imperium and be like, hey, I'm sorry, I want to be here again, guys. Like that could be something, even though I doubt it's worthy of the main event at Crown Jewel kind of match.
Yep.
I could see him showing up. I think that depending on the Cody feud at the time after the Randy versus KO match, like where that stands, if you have KO win, I doubt Randy shows up. But if you have Randy win, he could show up, because I feel like if KO's winning, Randy's too hurt to go back out there and go help Cody.
Do you think if KO does win and Randy ends up hurt, do you think KO comes out to throw Cody off his game and lose this new prestigious title in Saudi Arabia?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, actually, I don't know. That's a good question.
Something to think about.
It is definitely something to think about.
I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm just putting it out there.
Oh my God! Imagine he does that, and then we have a Sammy comes to defend Cody, and then we have a KO versus Sammy feud once again.
That would be absolutely electric. They could take all that money.
Pure cinema.
I agree. That would be another thing. That's another thing that could possibly happen, depending on the Kevin Owens Randy Orton match. So actually, a couple of these matches on the early part of the card have implication for the later part of the card, like the Bloodline. They could align with Cody, or Roman could still have a little anguish towards Cody winning his title. Jey could come to his aid, or Jimmy could come out with Jey. Depending on if Gunther has these other people come out, but I doubt he will. I don't think he's more of like a solo kind of guy, and he has, I don't know, disciples or people underneath him like Ludwig. I don't think he's more of a friendly guy backstage, like as a heel. I don't think people want to align with him really. That's not really his brand. I think Cody is more of an Avengers level friends list team, maybe, as they said at WrestleMania. So anything could really happen. But I think it's just going to be a one-on-one match, classic, fight till the pin or submission, And I think Gunther is going to win it in a great match. It's probably going to be like half an hour.
Yeah, I think spot on right there. I think it's going to be a great showcase of the two champions. I feel like you're going to want to protect both of them in terms of their pedigree
Hmm.
and showing that they're both worthy of maintaining and holding a championship. So you don't want to have a squash match or anything like that, which I doubt they do in the first place.
Yep.
But if you were to have Cody lose, I don't feel like it's going to be in a clean way. So
Interesting.
Cody's gonna lose. I feel like Cody's gonna definitely lose this match.
Hmm.
I just don't see them having him lose clean. I don't know if that means it's gonna be Vinci coming out. I don't know if that means Ludwig. I don't know who it means. KO interfering
Hmm.
potentially and costing him. Who
Maybe
knows?
maybe Solo even, depending
Yeah,
on that match.
it,
Like
it could be
he's
like
got history with all those members.
yeah, like let's say Sammy helps in the Bloodline match with realigns with Jey.
Yep.
Sammy's out of action for the Cody match. He can't protect Cody. There's so many elements at play for this final match that it's going to be really interesting to see how Cody takes this loss and to whose fault it is.
I agree. So it sounds like we're both on the same page. Gunther is going to win. He's going to win by submission or just not clean as it be against Cody. He's a fighter, as we know. He's gonna definitely put his best foot forward for this match, and he's gonna try to win. I just don't think he has
Mhm.
enough gas in the tank to do it against Gunther.
Yeah.
So now, do you want to do a recap of our picks before we end?
Yes, we will do a super quick recap. Just who we think's going to win each match.
So starting off, we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. That one is with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane and Io Sky, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, and Chelsea Green versus Piper Niven. I
Mhm.
believe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I definitely believe Jade and Bianca are going to win. I think they're the two most dominant as a duo in that match. I think all the teams have special abilities and characteristics that make up, each individual duo as a tag team, but I think Jade and Bianca do win that one.
Yes. I also think Jade and Bianca's going to win this one. And before we continue, a little impromptu, I think it would be fun if we keep track of our record here of who we think is right
We
and winner chicken dinner for whoever gets the most right, leading into our next
our next match.
pay-per-view review,
Yes, that could also
PLE
be
review.
something to look forward to. So currently we're both on the same page for Jade and
Yeah,
Bianca.
well, yes.
We're gonna have to sway during one. I think
We are, I
we
know we are.
probably will. And so going into the next match, we have the United States one with LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah,
What is your take? Who do you think is gonna win?
I'm taking Andrade.
You think Andrade is gonna win? I think LA Knight retains the title. That is our first disagreement. We're one for two.
There
There
it
we
is.
go.
There it is.
All
There it
right,
is.
clip
And
it.
it's in play.
Yep. Okay. Randy versus Kevin Owens. I think we both think Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Safe to say. Okay. Yep. I just think Kevin Owens needs it
Mhm.
more than Randy does.
Yep.
Then we have Seth Freakin Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed.
Yep.
Big
Bronson Reed for
Bronson
me.
Reed squash match. Yep. Then we have the Bloodline versus Roman Reigns and the Usos. I think Solo's gonna win that one.
I also think Solo's going to win that one. Yeah.
They just have the numbers advantage as it be right now, 4 against 3, even though it's a 3-on-3 match. Um, we'll see. Then we have Nia versus Liv. We gave our crazy takes on what's going to happen in that match. I think Nia is going to win, and then Tiffany's going to cash in afterwards. I think you are on the same page. I cannot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Nia's going to win that.
And then the last match, Cody versus Gunther. We both are high on Gunther winning against Cody.
Yes.
So the one
Yes, I
match
feel
that
like
could just okay, yep, go.
I feel like for the sake of our little game here, I want to change my. If I was to change one match, I am changing the Nia versus Liv, and I'm gonna have Liv win that one.
Really,
Officially.
I would have said if I were to change, I'm thinking Randy's gonna beat Kevin Owens.
Really?
That would be my switch up if it came down to a
Hmm.
tiebreaker, which would not make any sense because
Yeah,
um, but so I guess our only. So are you going to go with Liv to make it two disagreements?
I'm gonna go with Liv to make it two disagreements. Yes.
All right. So the United States Championship and Liv Morgan are on the line. Um. All right.
Yes. Yes.
So this is
Tune in
our
next time.
this was our full predictions of what we think the card is gonna entail and be about. We're gonna make a second episode once the show is over. I'm going to be tweeting at Raw Wrestle Talk on Twitter during the entirety of the show, the pre-show, the actual matches, and then the post-game press conference. And for the future of this channel, we're looking to do more podcasts like this, reviews. We want to do some quizzes similar to these guys, John and Dante, the Stash Club Wrestling Bros. We like all their videos. They got some good quizzes. So we're hoping to have a similar style to them in content wise, and yeah, maybe some card pack openings. We're both pretty big collectors of Panini cards and stuff like that, and WWE is coming out with some new boxes. I actually got one ordered for November 20th. It's going to be here, so I'll do a little pack opening for that. 3 cards guaranteed, 2 autographs. I'm excited for that. I'm going to make a video on that. Hopefully you guys like it. Thank you for sitting here and watching this with us. Do you have anything to add before we officially wrap up?
No, I mean thanks for watching. We're passionate fans. We're just here to share our thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts you want to share with us, we'd be more than happy to read them or talk about them. If you have any cool concepts that we want to dive into and share our wild thoughts on them, leave them in the comment section of whatever platform you're watching this on, if
Leave,
it's even doable.
leave them in the comments. We're going to put it on YouTube, possibly Apple Podcasts, possibly Spotify, and then you could tweet at Raw Wrestle Talk, and we should be able to see all the questions, answers, or just opinions that you have. And moving forward, we're hoping to try to grow this small community over YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, or X. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thanks.